We are joined via Zoom by political analyst Khanyi Mgubane to weigh in on the life and legacy of ANC Member of Parliament Tina Joemat-Pettersson. Khanyi, good afternoon. Thank you for making time to chat with us here today.
A very good afternoon to you, Liesl, and your viewers.
On a somber note, perhaps as we rehash her life and times and perhaps her impact and a legacy, how are we going to be remembering Tina Joemat-Pettersson at this point? From student politics, perhaps to a role in Parliament, what's emerged over her lifetime?
Well, you know, Liesl, I had the opportunity to be watching the memorial service until I had to join you just a short while ago. And the one thing that comes out very strongly from this memorial service is just a sense of pride in the levels that she was able to reach as a member of the ANC coming from the Northern Cape. And I think that it's safe to say that she's probably the most prominent ANC member to come out of the Northern Cape, having served in a number of prominent positions, including that of Minister of Energy. And we know that Tina has not only come out of the cabinet and gone into political obscurity, but she continued being quite an active member of Parliament as an MP. And she was in many portfolio committees in her lifetime, having served both at a provincial legislature level and at the National Assembly. And I think that of all the things that I said about Tina Joemat, even previous instances where she was accused of bringing the ANC into disrepute, there was issues of perhaps misusing here and there government funds, particularly relating to unofficial travel of some of her family members. We can point to a number of instances where she may have butted heads with the main ANC mother body, but I think all of that pales in comparison to the circumstances and the timing of her death. And if we talk about the legacy of Tina Joemat-Pettersson, the one thing that stands out is this dark cloud that continues to linger over the circumstances and the timing, and also given some of the explosive, accusations or statements made by suspended public protector Khanyi Mgubane during her press conference yesterday. So really a bittersweet moment, Liesl, as we remember the woman and her legacy and her journey, but also under the circumstances that it just feels that it was a premature death, that she wasn't supposed to be late. We weren't supposed to be having her memorial service right now. So really a sense of being unsettled, at least that's how I feel right now.
No, absolutely. Khanyi, I think before we get into some of those allegations that, or controversies rather, surrounding the last few weeks of her life, perhaps we could look at from the party itself to South Africa, the development of South Africa. How would you weigh in on her contribution to the country at large?
I think that if we can only just start by looking at the memorial service, we saw a very strong presence of the ANC Women's League.
Yes.
She was a woman's woman. Tina Joemat-Pettersson, we've heard speaker after speaker talking about how she literally used to stand for women candidates when it came to voting. She used to stand with women. She was pro-women. She was influential in getting the levels of women representation at the top leadership level of the ANC. She was instrumental in that. She was instrumental as one of the earliest members of Parliament after 1994 to have come in and really paved the way for many other women of color to come in. She was one of the first few colored MPs, to represent any political party at a very top level. And in her portfolios, whether it was agriculture and fisheries or whether it was in energy, we saw that she always came back into cabinet because of the generally good working relationship that she had with her seniors at the time or the president at the time. So in terms of her legacy, we can definitely point it towards a woman who represented, the party that she represented, not only at a top level, but in a way that was intentional about the development of women. She didn't look at herself as an individual to say, I'm Tina and I'm doing this for myself and my family. She wanted to bring other women along, and that is exactly what the women who spoke today, or many of the speakers who spoke today, also alluded to.
No, absolutely. She was obviously, as we know, it was alluded to that she would be contesting for position of deputy president in the ANC Women's League. So obviously a gap for the league itself. Perhaps we could go to your earlier point about the timing of her death and the allegations from the former public protector, perhaps how this impacts her legacy, how she was at the center of some controversies during her lifetime.
Well, I mean, the facts are before us, Liesel, without really rehashing the facts of the case. But we know that yesterday the suspended public protector played some voice notes, some very damning voice notes that are purported to have been between her husband and the late Tina. And we know that the late husband had reached a point where he had told her that, Tina, unfortunately, I'm going to have to expose us. And she was frightened. She felt a sense of danger to herself and to her life. And, I've read quotes, extensively in the media that extract from some of those clips that were played. And at some point, she says that you don't know those people. They are dangerous. My life could be in danger. And here she is now. She's dead, and so the question remains, was it a natural death that she succumbed to, or was there foul play? And I think that the ANC cannot let this matter go without really bringing the country into its confidence about what happened. And of course, we know it will ultimately be the prerogative of the family to reveal her cause of death. They don't have to. But without a clear cause of death, there will always be questions about whether the allegations made by Khanyi Mgubane that Tina Joemat-Pettersson would still be alive today if she wasn't involved in this whole impeachment case of hers. That paints a very scary picture. And the question has to be, who wanted Tina dead?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as we look into the dynamics unfolding for the country at large, heading into elections come 2024, what does her passing signify for the ANC at large?
Well, I mean, there have been many, I would say, statements that have been made saying that we are descending into a mafia state, and that the crime levels in this country are out of hand, and that the culture of assassinations is on the rise, and that, those who have power and those who have money can easily call hits on people that they perceive to be threats, people who they perceive may be able to expose them, people who they believe will be a threat to whatever kind of syndicates they may be a part of. And what this points to is that South Africa has reached very dangerous points, of power and power mongering, which has now extended to people's lives being taken. And it says that we're living in a fear state. It's not just fear mongering, but it's real. The numbers of people that are being assassinated, even according to crime reports and crime statistics. We read that in just the past 6 months of this year, there were thousands, I don't have the particular figures, but I think it's something, around 15,600 people murdered, by assassination, killed, for political reasons, for tenders, or for any other reason. So South Africa and murders are starting to become synonymous. And so it says to us, South Africa has moved into a very dangerous place in its history. And, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know who's going to be assassinated next. That's the reality of the country we're living in now.
No, absolutely. I mean, I want us to also perhaps listen into what Nomvula Mokonyane spoke about just on the back of the allegations from the suspended public protector. Perhaps we could listen into that and get your comment.
The ANC has not had any opportunity to reflect on these allegations. We've been reflecting on the morning, as we told everybody that allow us to mourn up until today. Let's deal with the loss that we have been exposed to. And I personally have not even heard, have not even watched, because we have been with the family from yesterday. And when the whole thing was happening, we were busy with the family receiving elders of Comrade Tina who were traveling to here in Kimberley. And my plea is that let's move on and proceed with our programs and allow the ANC to handle this shock, this loss, and any other issue. There are procedural processes that will follow.
Khanyi, those sentiments came on the back of, or currently as the memorial service was underway. Do you think it was the correct way to manage the situation that is currently unfolding in light of Tina's passing?
Well, I think that the DSG's comments were quite diplomatic. However, they may have lacked a sense of urgency of the matter. I think that she needed to bring South Africa into the confidence that as much as they are mourning the loss of a very senior member of the party, but at the same time, they take very seriously the circumstances around the death of their beloved comrade, and that they will be putting all the resources at their disposal at, coming to a satisfactory end about what happened to Comrade Tina, if only just to put to rest, the continuous questions and the suspicions that will continue to plague this case. And also because concurrently, the suspended public protector has come out very strongly to make these allegations. And unfortunately, Comrade Tina is no longer here to answer for herself. She's no longer here to respond to the audio clips that were played yesterday. She's no longer here to give South Africa a better picture of what happened, to contextualize those over 90 messages that were exchanged between herself and the husband of Mgubane. And because she's no longer here, it robs us South Africans of an opportunity to get a sense that we will ever truly know what happened in this case.
Khanyi, thank you for your time with us here on the SABC and for reflecting on the life and times of the late Tina Joemat-Pettersson.